Alrighty, gamers. I'm Jay, and welcome in to Retro Time. Or I can still be Nosaj. It's up to you. What you want to call me? Let me fix this camera. There's something weird going on with it. There we go. Alright, so, all I have to say is there was a lot of extremely weird stuff going on within my personal life. I don't know what's going on. I think you know, I don't know what's going on, but I know a lot of people are just acting a certain way and things are going a certain way that I'm not mad about anything. I'm choosing to move on. Like I said, this is one of my methods of doing it. Um, but people just get mad about the weirdest things with me. Like last night, somebody got mad about me about explaining how I was on my Kick channel last night and I was explaining something to a bunch of people about how you know, people can test you. Women will test you with text messages and things like that. And then when I said this, it upset the person I was talking to and they stopped talking to me. And I said, "Look, I'm not going to sit here and fight with you. I'm just going to leave you go because if you're that mad at me for this, then there's no reason to be talking to me at all whatsoever about anything right now because if this is one touchy subject that upsets you, then what else can upset you?" So I look at it this way, and there's a lot of other stuff going on that's like leading me to where I need to go. Like literally, I asked God to do a couple of things for me. I prayed to God for a couple of things, and here we are now, where a bunch of stuff just happened. And I'm looking at it like this. This is what God wants for me. This is what God wants me to do. Out of those prayers that I asked Him for, He's giving me back what I asked for, but in a way I didn't expect it. So, um, but yes, let's get into gaming news for the day. Alright, so get rid of the full screen. Dinky today. It's really small on the screen from the looks of it, but alright. Alright, Phil Spencer explains why there won't be any Activision games on Game Pass, probably. Alright, Phil Spencer explains why there won't be any Activision games on Game Pass in 2023. So, Xbox owns Activision Blizzard now, right? So, why are Call of Duty and Diablo games not on Game Pass yet? That's been a question on many people's minds lately. Now that Xbox's massive acquisition has finally closed, and today, Xbox head Phil Spencer showed up on the official Xbox podcast to try to answer it. During the podcast, Phil Spencer was questioned about the recent news that we wouldn't see a massive drop of Activision Blizzard games on Game Pass immediately after the deal finalized, as many had expected. As it was pointed out, a major flood of Game Pass newcomers happened when Xbox acquired ZeniMax. 20 Bethesda games dropped onto the service just a few days after, including some of the company's biggest franchises. Where then are all the Activision Blizzard games? Why is this different? Per Spencer, what does that even mean? Alright. Phil Spencer is what they probably meant to say. I don't know why they typed in pre. They're coming eventually. But the regulatory challenges surrounding the acquisition made it a bit trickier to navigate than ZeniMax deal, and adding games to Game Pass isn't as simple as flipping a switch to put them on there. The truth of the matter is that with Activision Blizzard King, that the regulatory process took so long, and frankly there was a lot of uncertainty in their process up until really a week before we closed, or the week of, when the CMA finally came down to their decision that we weren't able to get back in work, and with mostly Activision Blizzard with these cases on the back catalog work, Spencer says, now that the deal is closed, we're starting that work, but there is work, and the Twitter handle, they put something right there. The Twitter handle that talked about 2024, I think that's accurate. I would love it if there was some kind of secret collaboration drop that was coming in the next couple of weeks. There's not. So now that the deal is closed, we're starting that work, but there is work. So, I don't know. I guess that's the next part of it. Spencer went on to acknowledge that the lack of a celebratory sudden drop was a little bit of a downward, but reassured that the games are coming eventually, including Diablo 4 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. In the same interview, he also reiterated 100% parity for Call of Duty. I don't know what that is. Parity for Call of Duty across all platforms, including PlayStation, keeping with Xbox 10-year deal with Sony. Xbox acquisition for Activision Blizzard officially closed last week, with Xbox paying $69 billion to fully absorb the giant gaming publisher. After over a year of legal and regulatory battles in multiple countries. So, I guess we got some kind of an answer, but it's still I don't know. I think they're waiting. I think they're waiting a little bit till like. I think they're gonna wait a little bit. We're not gonna see them this year, but we're gonna see them sometime next year. We might see them like instantly drop in, because what I'm thinking is there's going to be a Call of Duty that's coming out like sometime next year, which I think it's already in the works. They're talking about it. I don't know what it's called, but I think there's going to be one next year. It's probably going to drop on Game Pass then, and then everybody will be able to play it. As for, and it's weird because can it be called an exclusive right now to Xbox? Now that PlayStation wants to, borrow the product itself? Maybe. I don't know. It's just that, it just seems like that PlayStation is, PlayStation needs to find their form of Call of Duty. I've been saying that. We have 3 other titles out there. If PlayStation want to buy Battlefield, I think they'd be all right. I think PlayStation is forgetting all these military simulators actually exist. And not only Call of Duty is out there, but like Battlefield is out there. Yeah. Not much, Saudi. I'm talking about the situation at hand. It was a wild day yesterday. I'm kind of glad I woke up to still do this and move on with everything. It sucks being here again, but I'm working on it, so. But, but that's what Phil Spencer says about the whole thing. I believe PlayStation can get their hands on Battlefield and then call it a day instead of worrying about Call of Duty so damn much. See, that's the thing about. Oh, I am. That's why I'm pushing on. Actually, I've prayed to God that my channels pick up, so I'm hoping to see everything go my way. And maybe this is God's answer to being like, get to work then on your channels and do your thing, and you go to your job, and then and then there's another thing I'm working on getting to. So I'm kind of just glad you're in here watching, Thoughty. It's really nice to know that one person stops. But I know it's gonna take a little bit again, and I'm willing to do that again. It took a year for me to get to 100 subscribers. So I'm working my way up again. It just sucks that everybody I had that was part of this just disappeared after I fell down again. So I got back up on my own. But last night I had an incident where something, not truly horrible happened to me, but it was enough to I wasn't even sad about it. It's just it's one of those things I chose to get right back up and do it again because, who else is going to do it? Who else is going to make my dreams happen besides me? and the power of God. And that's one thing that everybody needs to know about me. Anything that I've been doing with these channels, there's a lot behind them, and I've been praying that they pick up. And I've been praying I can at least do a little bit of side work from home, worst case scenario, and still go to work. But what I really want is to have these channels take off and get back to my place in life where I was years ago, where people are not, you know, the problem is people keep messing things up for me, and that's why I say people, because my channel didn't go down just by YouTube. Somebody took my channel down, and they were pretty adamant about it. So it just kind of sucks, but I'm hanging in there. And there's also people I want to meet along the way. I'm not gonna lie, and maybe a love interest is gonna pop up too. We'll see. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, let's get into this next story. What's the next major crossover event for Overwatch? Let's find out. All right. Overwatch 2 confirms next major crossover event. Overwatch 2 has announced its first ever in-game musical collaboration with Blizzard hero shooter, teaming up with popular K-pop group Le. I can't even say that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go search them now. I wonder if it's like a girl group or a guy group. While the original Overwatch didn't have much in the way of crossover content, Overwatch 2 has been going all in on the concept. Crossover events and skins are popular in free-to-play games, with Overwatch 2 adopting a free-to-play model. It makes sense for the game to pursue crossovers of its own. The first Overwatch 2 crossover saw the game joining forces with One Punch Man, giving players the chance to collect a variety of skins based on the hit anime series, including a Satanama, I guess that's how you pronounce his name, skin for tank hero Doomfist. The next Overwatch 2 crossover is the game's first ever musical collaboration. Oh yeah, it's a bunch of girls. First ever music collaboration. The Overwatch 2 Les Sifamera collab will include a music video for the group's Perfect Night single debut on October 26th at 9 p.m. As far as in-game content goes, Lee Lasfamere fans could look forward to a custom game inspired by the group, along with special in-game items and heroes. Details on the crossover items are available at the time of this writing, but more information will come to light on October 30th, with the event itself going live on November 1st. Well, I kind of was like, well, there's like very few of these bands over here in America. That's why I was like, I wonder if it's a girl or if it's a boy, if it's the boy band. Because the last time I remember, wasn't it that like boy band? I used to hang out with a bunch of girls that loved that BTS, and I still know about them because the girls I hung out with in college. All right, they would talk about that kind of stuff. Now I'm not big into this whole thing here, but like I can understand why they do so well, because right now when you look at it, we don't really have many of these bands anymore. We don't have boy pop bands or like girl pop bands anymore. It's very shied away from, and a lot of the music industry is now going to a route where like we're seeing a lot more like people do like this punk music mixed with like a genre of rapping or digitized lyrics and just digitized music in general. And it's not something I really enjoy hearing. I really don't care for it. But these bands here, I don't listen to them. I'm not gonna talk badly about them, but I've listened to some of the new age punk music, and man, it just does not sound good at all. It's like, can you stop trying to digitize everything and start actually playing music again? Because what that sounds like is like it just sounds like you're playing music, but you're not putting forth much effort into your music being played. You're putting forth into the digitized part of the music, which is not something that I want to hear. Like take a band like Fall Out Boy for instance, or like Avenged Sevenfold or those guys. They played real music. They didn't really use digitized equipment in their music. Now more bands than ever are doing that because that's what people do now, unfortunately. Like, I don't know why we're just not writing real music anymore. Raw, real music that sounds good. We need to go back to that era again, because I'll tell you what, that's why I don't like music anymore. November 2023 is going to be a big month for Overwatch 2 beyond the less familiar collab kicking off November. Also, will host BlizzardCon 2023, an event that will be Blizzard an event that will see Blizzard giving fans updates on its big on all its big games. As it so happens, Les Familiar will be at BlizzardCon on November 4th to platform Perfect Night during the event's closing ceremonies. Overwatch 2 will be featured at BlizzardCon 2023 with fans getting their first look at game's new tank hero, expected to arrive as a part of Season 8 to identity to the Season 8. The identity of the new tank hero is anyone's guess at this point, but the leading theory is that Overwatch is finally adding Magus to the game. I don't know his name. While some fans may already be looking forward to what Overwatch 2 Season 8 will entail, there's still plenty to look forward to in Season 7. Currently, Overwatch 2 Season 7 is running the Halloween Terror event, and later in the season, fans can look forward to long-awaited Roadhog rework. Further down the line, it's likely that there will be even more Overwatch crossovers to look forward to, so fans should keep an eye out. Alright. Alright. So, let's see. The guy looks like he has no teeth. I wonder what this is. I never even heard of this. I wonder if I click it, I wonder if I'll get an idea of what, exactly the game is. Because by looking at it, it looks like every other, game out there that's like it. So that's why when you hear me say stuff like Baldur's Gate looks like another version of Elder Scrolls Online, it's because that's how I actually feel about it. And looking at this, I see that here. So, alright, he does have teeth. Alright. Warhaven reveals Soul's Dance Festival Halloween event, competition mode, and more exclusive. Man. Warhaven developer Nexon officially announced the pre-season 1 launch date, which brings with it a new class, a new Halloween-themed event, and a new ranking game mode called Competition. Fans can expect to dive into Nexon's new content and check it out on October 18th at 8 p.m. /11 p.m. Warhaven is a free-to-play medieval fantasy brawler where players must assemble two teams of 12 players and face each other in objective-based matches. Each each densely lore packed with characters also feature unique roles and abilities, and players are even capable of transforming into immortals, gods who feel gods who feel called to serve as a garnered purpose. Warhaven is currently in access on Steam as Nexon works to refine the content, but that doesn't mean it's going to miss out on the festives. Its Halloween event, dubbed the Soul Stance Festival, adds a handful of new skins for several soldiers and immortals to the game. Players can see some of these skins in action in a trailer, which highlights a werewolf inspired skin as well as Little Red Riding Hood inspired cloaks. Taking center stage through the Soul Stance Festival trailer is the new class, the Bard, and it kicks off with a very Shrek-like introduction of the character showing before showing them play music throughout the battlefield. Interesting. Warhaven's competition mode is also coming alongside Preseason 1 and the Soul Stance Festival for players who are high enough level to play on competition mode. Players must reach level 31st, and this mode will unlock new rewards for Preseason 2. Whenever it reveals, rewards understandably are determined by the player's rank come the end of this preseason. As this entitles the initial rollout, fans can expect to see competition mode active and enable for Warhammer's Onslaught, Dominion, and Arms race game modes acting as a sort of ranked mode for the Brawler title. All in all, it'll be interesting to see how Warhammer Preseason 1 pans out for the game and its ongoing development. The Bard class looks like a fun addition that may be able to spice up some teams' competition strategies. Soul Dance Festival will add some lovely season appropriate skins to the game and the competition mode ensure early access players are able to stack up on some reward ahead of the next preseason. What that contains remains to be seen, of course, but it seems like Nexon is already planning ahead. Hmm. I'm gonna skip over that. I'm not too concerned with this Call of Duty stuff. Like, I love reading a little bit about it, but like Call of Duty's just not up there for games I'm gonna be games I play. All right, let's get down to reading some computer stuff because I like reading computer stuff. Intel officially launches 14th gen Raptor Lake CPUs. To close out the last quarter of 2023, Intel officially launched its 14th generation Raptor Lake CPU, which are a minor refresh of the previous 13th gen line with slightly better specifications at no added cost. This release on the 14th gen Intel Core CPU came nearly a year after the release of 13th, and both are still intended to keep pace with AMD's Ryzen 7 CPUs. In previous leaks, the price of the refreshed Raptor Lake was revealed to be within the same range as the 13th generation. According to the leaks, the price of the Core i9 14,900K would be approximately $589, which lined up with the actual MSRP that Intel released. While this lack of price increase is welcome news for consumers and PC builders looking to upgrade a generation or two, the lack of price increase was response to AMD's slashing for prices on their current and previous generation of CPU. Only time will tell if the prices will be enough to entice consumers, but Intel has more going for it than just prices. Starting at $294, the Core i5 14600 KF, the 14th gen Raptor Lake CPUs look to offer slightly better specifications and more Intel efficiency E-cores than the last generation, while retaining the same number of power cores, P-cores, according to the specification for the Core i5 14600, which starts at 319, has the same 14-core amount of 6 P-cores and 8 E-cores as the i5 13600, but starting the i7 14700 at 409, the E-core count goes up from 8 to 12 when compared to the i7 13700K. In addition to boosted clock speed of the i7 14700K and the i9 14900K are slightly increased from their 13th gen counterparts, up to 5.6 GHz and 6.0 GHz respectively. The boosted clock speed amount average performance increased about 5% across the board. However, when compared to the AMD Ryzen 9 7950 X3D, the Intel Core i9 with 14900K is slightly faster. But where the i9 14900K may win audience over is its lower price tag of $589 when compared to $660 street price of the Ryzen 9 7950 X3D, though AMD has made efforts to cut prices in response to competitors. It remains to be seen if consumers will be willing to bite the 14th generation Raptor Lake refresh. In addition to the boosted E-core count, the 14th generation Raptor Lake CPUs with support for current Intel motherboards such as the Z7790 and support both DDR4 and DDR5 RAM, but only time will tell how much impact Raptor Lake refresh will have on the CPU market. We hope you like the items we recommend and discuss. Alright, so yeah. So it just talks about, it's basically talking about that this one right here is probably is going to be the new one that's coming out, and it's going to be a lot better than the other ones. And they're trying to up the ante against AMD apparently, like normal, because that's what Intel normally does. You got two choices, Intel and AMD, and that's all there is right now. Red, orange and blue. So I don't play The Witcher, but I am still gonna read this because it's talking about how it's gonna differ from a cyberpunk. Well, I mean, it's completely different than cyberpunk. That's what I will say. So as for this discussion, I don't know why they would have had it to begin with if they're both different games. CDPR reveals how The Witcher 4 development will differ from Cyberpunk 2077. The Witcher 4 won't leave consoles as an afterthought the way Cyberpunk 2077 did. A senior CD Projekt Red official has revealed that claim was offered as part of a wider retrospective on how the troubled launch of Cyberpunk 2077 is informing CD Projekt Red's future project. Not much has been revealed about the fourth mainline installment in the Witcher series since CD Projekt Red confirms in 2022 that the game itself is happening. Based on a few tidbits that the studio shared over the next year, The Witcher 4 is codenamed Polaris and won't actually have a number in its title, on top of being planned for a release before the upcoming remake of the original Witcher game from 2007. So they're remaking the original Witcher game. That's something I didn't know. And while the development of Witcher 4 remains shrouded in mystery, CD Projekt Red management and audio engineer director Colin Wilder has now shed some light on one notable aspect of the project during his recent appearance at the 9th Ivan Game Conference at Pangyo, South Korea. Wilder revealed that CD Projekt Red adopted a much more inclusive approach to the development of Project Polaris. Specifically, the studio is already running demos and internal performance reviews on the console. The official revealed Wilder acknowledged how console testing is something CD Projekt Red only started doing during the later stages of Cyberpunk 2077 development. With less than ideal results, to put mildly, The Witcher 4 should consequently do much a better job at offering acceptable console performance at launch compared to Cyberpunk 2077. That's all the more important given how the upcoming title might end up being another cross-gen release for CD Projekt Red. As a reminder, the technical issue plaguing Cyberpunk 2077 at launch largely stemmed from the game's PS4 and Xbox One versions of both which struggled to maintain a stable frame rate among other problems. The fiasco ended up being a costly mistake for CD Projekt Red, with the company recently revealing that fixing Cyberpunk 2077 set the developer back over 126 million. So, granted, since the game broke even on pre-orders alone, selling 8 million units ahead of the release and surpassed 25 million sales on October 2023. Its disastrous launch was ultimately a mistake whose fix CD's Projekt Red was able to afford. However, the studio has long been open about the fact that repairing a relationship with a fandom following Cyberpunk 2077's release will take much longer, ensuring that it doesn't make the same mistake moving forward is an inherent part of that ongoing process. With Wilder suggesting that as much during his recent appearance in South Korea. So they're working on 4, they're working on a remake, and then they're working on the next Cyberpunk game. So we're seeing a lot of games come out of this company right now. I actually like CD Projekt Red. But there's a lot of work ahead of them, and a lot of stuff they got to do, and they're already on works for this. They were already talking about the second Cyberpunk game, so I'm looking forward to that one myself. Um, yeah, that's that. All right, let's read this. Diablo 4 disables major feature following the Season 2 release issues. Diablo 4 launched Season of Blood on October 17th with a few major bugs, and one of these issues ultimately forced Blizzard to temporarily disable crossplay between consoles and PC. The crossplay in Diablo 4 was one of its major selling points before release. Rather than box players in by region and platform, friends would be able to group together with no restrictions. Unfortunately, many fans have argued that the social aspect of Diablo 4 are hugely under development, which ultimately made the benefit of crossplay seem underutilized. While Diablo 4 Season of Blood focused on adding several quality of life features such as a dedicated gem material tab or a better stash functionality, there is still much that Diablo 4 fans feel is missing. From the game, on paper, Season 2 was supposed to be a major step in the right direction, but the glitches have mirrored an otherwise hopeful launch. Diablo 4 players reported having issues with their seasonal progress not being saved, being unable to claim their premium battle pass reward, or even noticing that many cosmetic items still use placeholder icons. On top of the in-game problems, the Diablo 4 community also reported slow download speeds and new error codes following the update. These technical issues have seemingly contributed to Blizzard temporarily shutting down Diablo 4 crossplay functionality until the bugs are properly addressed. The despite disastrous launch, Season of Blood holds plenty of promise for a long-term future of Diablo. The latest update is not only bringing new bosses to the game, but it is also providing players a means of farming for uber unique and uber uniques in Diablo 4 by taking on Uber Dara. Okay, a challenge somewhat compared to Uber Lilith in terms of difficulty. The fans have applauded Blizzard for attempting to provide different ways of approaching the endgame in Diablo 4, past nightmare dungeons. It may take more than just adding a few bosses to bring back the numbers Diablo 4 had on release. To that end, Diablo fans should keep an eye out for any Diablo 4 news at BlizzardCon 2023, as Blizzard will most likely tease the first expansion pack for the game during the opening presentation. Given the way its predecessor was redeemed by Reaper of Souls, Diablo 4 may end up following a similar trajectory where its expansion pack taps into the game's potential and turns into a Diablo installment worthy of the franchise. Alright, so there we go, there's that. All right, I'll read this one. Forza Motorsports release update 1.0. Forza Motorsports has made a pit stop, and the Forza sports team is ready to launch Update 1.0 for the new racing title. The update touches on multiple gaming aspects of Forza Motorsports that apply to all supporting platforms, including the Xbox Series, console, and PC players will need to update their games now to properly implement Update 1.0 for a smoother Forza experience. While Forza Motorsports was just released last week on October 10th, a wide range of issues were being reported by fans post-launch, despite criticism directed towards the career experience of the title. Critics and fans pointed out their share of problems, including performance issues, progression bugs, lengthy loading screens, and more. After a week of being released, developer Turn 10 Studios has developed the first big update for Forza Motorsports that rectifies a series of problems. Update 1.0 for Forza Motorsports works to administer stability fixes for the platforms to complement its progress system. Even though the PC version won't be receiving a facelift, the graphics for the Xbox Series X and S platforms are getting a small touch-up. Most notably, the patch notes for the update 1.0 focus on several individual cars in Forza Motorsports, where some fixes have also been applied. Furthermore, a few remedies will concern other gameplay aspects that involve physics, tuning accessibilities, and replay camera. The fixes mentioned in Update 1.0 provide a decent overhaul to fast-paced racing of Forza Motorsports, with a packed combination of cars and gameplay issues that are now eradicating, competing against others across the track in Forza Motorsports is sure to keep players engaged with new Forza installment. While there may still be some other problems that could come up after installing update 1.0, rest assured that a good chunk of the new issues are now gone. After a week since its launch on PC and Xbox platform, Forza Motorsports is one of the most played games to come to racing genre this year. Now that it acts as another Forza selection for Game Pass owners to choose from, the hype hasn't quieted down. It's certain that the support for the title will continue. For the Forza support team will be looking for any addition in-game issues with the help of players submitting tickets. With this, the overall Forza Motorsports experience should progressively improve as Turn 10 Studios continues to administer remedies for the future and gameplay problems. So there are all the patches, so look through them yourself. I'm not reading these, I never do. So Alright, on to the next article. Alright. Nintendo reveals whether Super Mario Bros. Wonder was influenced by the movie. Alright, so let's take a look at this. Nintendo released new developer blog posts with insight into the development of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, revealing whether the Super Mario Bros. Movie influenced the development of the new game. Super Mario Bros. Wonder developers also revealed the reason why the game does not used the element from the movie as a launch day approach. As launch day approaches, sorry. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is the next major 2D platforming entry for the Nintendo gaming icon. Demo kiosks are already available at retailers such as Walmart and Los Angeles-based voice actor Kevin Afghan revealed his role as Super Mario in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Afghana replies Charles Martinet, who retired from the role to become Nintendo's official Mario ambassador following the worldwide success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Fans may have wondered if the film inspired any features on the element within the new game. Super Mario Wonder was not directly influenced by Super Mario Bros. Movie, and many developers at Nintendo did not hear anything about the film's content while developing the game. When asked if the movie had influenced on a game, Nintendo's Masanobu Sato states the executive officer Takeshi Tezuka and senior officer Koji Kondo were the only members of the development team that knew the finer details of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Tezuka chimes in and explains that during development the team did not know when the movie would be released. However, Tezuka and the development team knew that some people would be interested in playing Super Mario Bros. Wonder after watching the film. Nintendo dedicated ample time and budget to the game development in order to create characters with greater details. According to the Tezuka, the development team works to ensure the Super Mario Bros. Wonder would not disappoint fans who watch the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So that motivation seems to be the only influence that movie may have had. So on the game's development, Super Mario Bros. Wonder may be an entry separate project, but it's clear that the developers at Nintendo want to deliver a high-quality game for fans of the movie and prior entries to the Super Mario Bros. Series. Players have a wide range of abilities in use Super Mario Bros. Wonder, including the all-new elephant the all-new elephant form. Just like in Super Mario Bros. Movie, Bowser will be the antagonist of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Some fans already are speedrunning the game due to a recent leak, but players around the world will not have to wait much longer since Super Mario Bros. Wonder is launching this week. Yeah, another game I want to get, but I can't play it because bills. Maybe next month. Alright. I kind of want to read this. So, actually, let me go back into this and explain something here. Okay. So I don't really believe there's going to be any influence from the Super Mario Bros. Movie for this. I don't foresee it, and let me tell you why. There was and by looking at it, there is no connection whatsoever to the idea of what the movie is, and there's no connection to like it just doesn't seem like there's a connection at all in this movie. I don't know why people keep asking this question here, because if we look at it and you look at the influence from the movie, you look at how the movie is, it was very original Mario, where he got the mushroom, he got the star, you could see him grow up, you could see like the mini mushroom made him small. You saw that kind of stuff. You saw him and DK fighting. You saw a bunch of like things from old Mario games and old Nintendo products that I don't think this game's gonna have a connection whatsoever to the movie. And you can just tell by looking at the previews that there's pretty much it's gonna feel like there's no connection whatsoever. And I'm sure people will be some conspiracy theories out there still out there being like, yeah, this connects to the movie and this shows why the movie is gonna have all sorts of stuff. So I'm expecting people to go down the rabbit hole and be like, well, this connects to this. This was in the movie. This could potentially tell the next sequel, like stuff like that with games like this, because that's what this is leading up to. So let's get into this one. New game is like Stardew Valley with 3D graphics and Animal Crossing style characters. I don't know. That don't look like an Animal Crossing style character to me. But hey, an upcoming life sim called Critter Cove looks to combine the gameplay of Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing style characters and 3D graphics. Its incoming release promises to add the list of cozy games inspired by the gameplay loops of Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing. Critter Cove is the third ever game from Gentleman Rat Studio, a three-person developer that previously put out mobile game titles Peggy Pop and Blocktagon. The project also has the backing of Tiny Build, one of today's most well-known indie games publishers who track record constants or of critically acclaimed titles such as Pathological 2 and Hello Neighbor. Unlike those horror games, Critter Cove promises to offer a much more relaxing experience set on a tropical island that would look out of place in Animal Crossing New Horizon. The life sim will take players with rebuilding the life sim will task players with rebuilding an archipelago town, which will involve exploration, crafting, and making friends with a variety cast of humanoid animals. Character Critter Cove will also feature sailing as well as hundreds of homes, furnishing, and protagonist customization options. In terms of similarity, Stardew Valley and the developers said that Critter Cove will offer some farming mechanics. Nevertheless, growing crops won't be the focus of the game, as the overall experience will be primarily geared toward exploration and socializing. Similar to Animal Crossing series, Gentleman Rat also promised a lot of management stating that the building one's home in Critter Cove will be just the beginning. Critter Cove has yet to be treated to release date. Gentleman Rat is currently planning to launch the PC version of the game in early access during the first quarter of the 2024. The Life Sim has also been confirmed for the last two generations of PlayStation and Xbox consoles, although those ports will be seemingly lag behind the earlier access launch of PC and PC. In the meantime, anyone eager to experience the release version of the game can request access to Critter Cove playtest via Steam. Although the development isn't looking for more testers right now, it promised to notify anyone interested in previewing the game as soon as more slots open up, closer to the earlier access release. And while the overall scope of Critter Cove appears to be set in stone, the full breadth of its content remains very much up in the air. That's largely because the development plans to incorporate earlier adopters' feedback into the final product, allowing it to shape everything from balancing changes to gameplay features. So we got a new game on the rise. This is coming. Let's see if I can find anything else to read before I go. All right, let's read this. Sony is under pressure after Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition analysis says. Sony is currently under pressure to response of Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition in the industry, analysis said. His comment on the matter were offered as a part of wider outlook at PlayStation makers' prospect following the conclusion of the deal that some argued would give Xbox too much power across the gaming space. After almost 2 years worth of regulatory reviews, Microsoft officially acquired Activision Blizzard on October 13th. The 68.7 billion transaction is by far the largest such deal in history of gaming industry, as well as the biggest ever acquisition in the wider tech sector. Now that Activision Blizzard is a part of Microsoft's family of game studios, Sony is surely feeling the pressure to react. According to the Ampere analysis, head of the game research prior Harding Rolls, speaking to the game industry biz, Harding Rolls opened that his recent turn of events will likely, they spelled open here wrong. I don't know why they do that. If you're writing an article, okay? If you're writing an article, you have to watch your spelling and grammar, okay? Like, I try to watch my spelling and grammar on my YouTube channel, but boy oh boy, I look at some of these and I see like this right here is supposed to be spelled OPENED, opened, that the recent turn of events will likely push PlayStation maker into more acquisitions of its own, including high-profile deals that would offer a meaningful way for Sony to continue competing with Microsoft's ever-growing game-making setup. Harding Rolls hardly alone in the prediction, not least because Sony itself has been signaling interest in the new Activision throughout 2023. The conglomerate was reportedly even considering spinning off of its financial services until a public company back in May, all with the goal of funding its future M&A actively, whether such a move would be necessary for Sony to maintain its inorganic growth momentum moving forward is unclear, but what's certain is that acquisition in the game space slowed down over the last 12 months. After completing 5 such deals in 2022, Sony acquired one game developer in 2023, the Washington-based Firewalk Studio. As for what's next, Microsoft Harding Rolls expects that the tech giant won't attempt altering Activision Blizzard core structure in the foreseeable future. While Bobby Kotick already confirmed he'll be stepping down as an Activision Blizzard CEO come 2024, a change in leadership won't necessarily have an immediate impact on the rest of the company. As things stand right now, Harding Rolls expects that Microsoft will leave Activision Blizzard to operate as a separate entity, similar to how a handheld ZeniMax Media after acquiring it in early 2021, which a strategy would leave Microsoft with 3 independent games publishing arm: Activision Blizzard, ZeniMax, Activision Blizzard, ZeniMax, and Xbox Game Studios. And while PlayStation is now starting to feel the sting from Microsoft's ZeniMax acquisition, this newly concluded deal might take longer to start yielding palatable advantages for Microsoft. This largely due to July deal that was Microsoft vow to keep Call of Duty Activision Blizzard franchise flagship franchise on PlayStation for the foreseeable future. All right. So yeah, PlayStation is worrying about this way too much, and they just keep, you know, they just keep kind of worrying about it. It's like at this point, go, like it's like a person. All right, PlayStation reminds me of a person, and how like some people can't let things go, so they consistently like because they can't let things go and they can't move on from a situation because they're like mad or angry or just, you know, letting life get the better of them. PlayStation will sit there and try to egg on problems and try to like still try to remain that spot. And that's what's problematic about this is like, okay, the deal goes on here. These are both businesses. I understand that. But at the end of the day, PlayStation is losing their spot. And they keep digging themselves deeper and deeper into this hole because Xbox has officially won and PlayStation is like getting mad that Xbox has finally won. So, it's just weird how things work. You can't win without having somebody up your ass and being like, "Well, I was supposed to," like attacking you for stuff like that. That's how things are now. Like you can't just you can't just be successful at anything and not have like some sort of like really bad outcome, unfortunately. But that's just how I see it. People are always like that. That's real life situations where you become successful, you get good, and then people still go after your like livelihood or like something about you that they'll be like they'll just try their best to like do something horrible to you to make you feel like you don't belong in the position you're in because you've did something like messed up years and years ago and you're still like and they'll make you suffer for it. That's how people are. They don't like watching people become successful. So like PlayStation, I can foresee them doing something like, just they care too much right now. So when somebody cares too much, what you're getting is the worst of somebody, and they're going to keep acting like a child over it. Just as an example, I see this happen in real life where I'll get something great, and then somebody around me acts like a complete child about a situation I'm in because they don't like the situation I'm in. So they'll act like a child because it was unfair to them somehow, even though God put it into my life. That's how I look at it. And everything that God puts into my life is something people end up like taking out normally because people have a tendency of like doing it to themselves where they fuck themselves over. They do really horrible stuff to people and in reality it's fucking them over too because what they don't realize is that somewhere along the lines all this stuff you're doing right now at this very point in time, whether it's good or bad, it's always going to catch up to you later on down the road. And life has shown me that it took some time for life and God has shown me that that this whole thing last night was me praying and getting what I wanted out of everything I prayed for. And I'm going to keep praying because I keep seeing these outcomes. And there are people I pray that really really learn a lesson, need to be brought down a notch and need to accept the reality as it is and stop going after people and what they're doing. If you feel selfish enough to do something to somebody, always remember that stuff always comes back to haunt you in the long run. It doesn't matter how you treat people. If you're doing good, you're going to get good. If you're doing bad, you're going to get bad. You have to remember that as a human being. Nothing ever good ever comes out of getting bad. You might have like lots of money from stealing people. What happens eventually when you steal from people? You go to jail. You lose your family, stuff like that. And you end up even dying actually if you keep being a bad person. And that's why I choose not to be a bad person because I don't want to be in those situations where these guys feel the need to be like bad guys and go do horrible stuff to people. I'd rather work a job and sit here and struggle instead of like doing horrible shit to people and destroying their livelihood and stuff like that. That's just how I feel about all this. But that's it for me today, guys. If you like what you saw here, hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back tomorrow with this. But alright, guys, take it easy and keep gaming, gamers.